O'Neill, who joins us as well. Hi, Mayuresh. All set for the weekend, but it's going to be a busy one with a couple of these numbers coming in. And I think, Mayuresh, we are almost matching as well. But Mayuresh, what about Shree Cement? As I just said, the numbers are expected to be weak. How would you approach Shree Cement, or do you prefer some other cement names?
Afternoon, Nigel. No, clearly, as you have rightly pointed out, I think if you probably look at the numbers on a sequential basis, I think the pain that will come through for a lot of these commodity consumers, specifically cement companies with higher petcoke prices, logistics costs still remaining elevated. And therefore, I think even if volumes probably remain flattish on a quarter-on-quarter basis, elevated input costs are going to take a hit in terms of the reported EBITDA and the reported EBITDA per ton as well. Obviously, I think things will see significant improvement from Q3 onwards as they restock input materials at a much lower cost. And it's all about how demand probably comes back. Domestic demand, Nigel, surprisingly held out pretty well. So the kind of capex that the government is doing in terms of housing, in terms of infrastructure, I think that will keep volume growth for the industry afloat for the better part of the second half, as well as the next year, as next financial year as well. But generally, I think weak numbers are expected from Shree Cement. So I think the leaders within the pack who have probably assumed leadership position, stocks like ACC, Ambuja to a certain extent, I think the momentum there can continue as per the O'Neill methodology.
Nigel and Mayuresh, tell me you guys did not talk to each other. I'm sorry, I can't.
Are you feeling left out?
I mean, I don't know why I am on air, but let's put Nigel on air along with Mayuresh in that window. All right, I think I'm going to wait.
No, we did not have a chat session.
I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw Mayuresh as well. I was like...
So now the color is looking a little different, Nigel. It's not completely,
Yeah.
But the size of the squares is exactly the same. I almost get the feeling you're feeling a bit left out. Like they didn't invite you to this.
Rima has a clothes matching app. I think she took it out.
It's the trained eye of a girl.
No,
I'm surprised that you even caught the difference in the color.
I mean,
so you've got to give yourself credit.
And then I looked up. I said, "Oh, wow, this is quite something." Mayuresh, on a serious note, I mean, this tech move that we've had, right, 2 weeks in a row. Do you think it has more legs to run, or it'll fizzle out, fade? Already. What's your sense?
No, so largely, I think as we have been tracking a lot of product companies in the US market, our parent probably does that. And what we're seeing in terms of numbers for the Indian companies as well, I think it's largely a range-bound move between the 50 DM and the 200 DMA. I think that will continue over the next couple of quarters, to say the least. The reasons, obviously, I think are pretty well known. I think what probably happens in terms of client budgets we'll come to know probably in Q4, which is Q4 of our season, Q1, in terms of how the US companies report. And largely in terms of the margin compression that we're still seeing, margin improvement was very, very stark for companies like Infosys and HCL Tech in the quarter gone by. But I think some inherent concerns will remain. I think it's a very simple way of analyzing the expression. I think Wipro has been a stark underperformer. HCL Tech, Infosys probably have been outperformers out of the large cap so far, and TCS has been more or less in line with estimates. The day I think Wipro's commentary starts improving, and we've seen this in the past as well over the past few years, I think that is the time I think the IT sector normally bottoms out. When Wipro starts giving commentaries which is very, very sluggish, I think the other companies probably repeat that in the next 2 to 3 quarters. So I think the IT sector still has some time to bottom out.